Good morning, Mrs. Chavez-DeRemer. And I want to, first of all, congratulate you and your family on your nomination. And to begin by saying Maryland, the workers that we're talking about today, Maryland has the highest per capita share of federal workers in the country. So the people that we're talking about are my constituents, by and large, and they are reeling from this administration's mass firings. Now, when we had our conversation last week, and I know that it was reinforced today, you assured me that you would abide by the law, that even if encouraged to break the law, you said that you commit to following the law. Is that still the case?
Yes.
Now, do you believe that a collective bargaining agreement is enforceable under the law?
Yes.
And if I can ask you, are you aware of the statute which recognizes the right of federal employees to engage in collective bargaining?
I don't know the statute number, so.
It's Title VII of the Civil Service Reform Act, but what I can tell you is that statute, are you aware of that statute or any statute that limits the binding nature of a collective bargaining agreement based on when it was signed?
I'm not an attorney, as you know, and so I would like to.
But you would
this a
be
little bit
in
more.
charge
Yes.
of enforcing the law. So if it is the law,
Yes.
that there is no statute that limits the binding nature of a collective bargaining agreement, then you would enforce that collective bargaining agreement.
I will fully and fairly enforce the law if.
Now, I want to tell you that President Trump has canceled what he has called as lame duck collective bargaining agreements. And I want to ask you whether what statute there is that you believe would give the president the authority to cancel or void approved union contracts certified during a lame duck.
I'm not familiar, and I cannot weigh in on any specific statute that you're asking me about.
But again, if it is the case, and it is, that there is no statute that allows you to set aside a collective bargaining agreement, there is no time limit, would you enforce that collective bargaining agreement pursuant to the law?
Again, Senator, being not familiar specifically, I would certainly want to, discuss this with the solicitors at the Department of Labor if confirmed, just to make sure that I am on the same page without committing to exactly
Well, no, but
what you're
once it's
referring to.
confirmed for you that it's the law, you have committed that you will enforce the law.
I'm committed to always fully and fairly enforce the law, and I will work with the solicitor of the Department of Labor to make sure before I weigh in specifically on this specific that you're talking about.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Now, President Trump made some, I would call it troubling and shameful comments after the devastating fatal plane crash that occurred here in Washington, D.C. I'm sure you're aware of that plane crash.
Yes, ma'am.
And he blamed, at the time, while the bodies were still in the water, many of them were children, he took that moment to blame the incident on Federal Aviation Administration hiring people with intellectual and mental health disabilities. Again, while the recovery efforts were going, do you agree with the president's comments?
Senator, I cannot comment on what the president says or does not say. I support the president in this agenda that he is moving forward with.
No.
So
the question is not his agenda. Do you agree that with the comment that hiring people with intellectual and mental health disabilities was the reason do you agree with the comment that was the cause?
I have not had a conversation with the president on this, and I cannot weigh in and speak to that any further.
Okay, I want to make you aware that the same hiring language that appeared on the Federal Aviation Administration's website under President Biden are also there during President Trump's first administration as well. So nothing has changed in terms of the hiring practices. But should workers with disabilities be allowed to work
Absolutely.
at FAA? Okay. Now, in an email that was sent out across the government through OPM, it classified, it used language that, quote, said that their goal was to move from their lower productivity jobs in the public sector to higher productivity jobs in the private sector. Do you agree that public sector jobs are low productivity jobs?
Again,
no, this is not hypothetical.
Unless we determine what those are, it's hard for me to, if just putting it all in one size fits all, it's hard for me to comment on that.
No. It's a yes or no. Do you believe that public sector jobs are, quote, low productivity jobs? Is that your opinion?
On its face, no. No.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
All right,
you.
I yield.
Thank you.